All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is such a joy to be here with all of you today. All I can say is it's time for one. I was about to say, in my head, I said it's time for more One Punch Man, but my lips just skipped over more and just said it's time for One Punch More Man. So, you know how I do sometimes. I'm sorry. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another reading of One Punch Man. Last we left off, we cut back to Suryu being introduced to everyone at Neo Heroes. We get introduced to a whole bunch of people, Webby Gather, Ryomon, and this one dude called Inferschnave, a whole bunch of people that have already sided with Neo Heroes, and we see that Black Luster has left the HA and is now working at Neo Heroes as a trainer because the dude is still massively depressed. This man has just not recovered at all from his encounter with President Ugly, and he's greatly scarred because his hands are covered in big gloves to cover up his, his skin scarring from the bile that pretty much just broke through his once thought to be invincible muscles. And he's wearing a big old shirt now to cover up the big scar that's on his chest as well. And while everyone's being introduced, and Webby Gather is clearly the most dangerous out of all of them because her whole vibe just screams like a female Amai mask. And that's even worse because she's also like this pop idol as well, and she seems like she could be the world's most volatile VTuber. Ravi, it is good to see you, my friend. So while that's all going on, remember the sumo guy that was silently being recruited by Neo Heroes way back when? He walks up to Black Luster at the end of the last chapter and says, "Are you really not going to fight? Like, at all? Are you really choosing not to fight at all?" And that's where we left off with the last chapter. So we got chapter 203 today. So let's go with chapter Punch 203, The Fierce Ones. Wow, we haven't seen like a cover image that had Saitama on the front in a minute. It's been a while. So the dude, his name is Raiden. Sorry, it's been a while. I didn't know his name. It's been several months. It's been over like it was like several months. I didn't remember his name. I can't remember every single name that enters into my head. I don't have Captain America photographic memory. But we have Raiden here, and McCoy is speaking, going, "The super wrestlers in Super Sumo must stand over 3 meters tall and weigh over 400 kilograms. And Raiden is a former champion. Thanks to his slap that pulverizes large monsters, he's never lost in 700 matches. We estimate that he surpasses Class S heroes in combat strength." Sure. And then Raiden speaks.
"Super Alloy, you're well known in my sport. You're the man with the diamond muscles. Your strength is said to surpass the realm of humanity and even dominate over all the creatures. But the same applies to another human being. Me. How about a friendly contest of strength?"
And wow, he's challenging Black Luster right here, right now. And he goes to, like lock arms with him. And Black Luster is already kind of sweating. And that same face of confidence that same face of fear. That same face of confidence that we're so used to seeing. I mean, it's nowhere to be seen. No, the face of fear he had the moment his muscles were scarred is right on his face. No, wait. And Raiden immediately grips onto his hands and starts trying to, put his own strength up against Black Luster's. And in this, and it's a really nice, well done double spread panel where we see the size of Black Luster, who has always been one of the tallest individuals I've ever seen in One Punch Man. He is easily dwarfed by the size of Raiden. And they're just clashing, and you see Black Luster, and he's, holding up against Raiden, but Raiden is putting all of his strength into it. And Black Luster's just looking at him going, ugh! And then we see Raiden relent and go,
enough. I did not mean to scare you. Perhaps you aren't in the best condition.
And then while Raiden is walking away with his eyes closed, like disappointed, he also thinks,
or perhaps he is past his peak.
And then someone just bursts in from behind Metalback going, Oi, don't forget about us! You leaders think you're so special, huh? And everyone's looking confused because he literally entered into the building by punching the door off. Death Boxing uses gloves packed with iron sand. Masurio is the interim champion. Masurio. Yeah. Masurio is the interim champion. Cyborg fighting takes place in an underground shelter between bodily modified combatants. Mechanical fighter Coco got expelled. He always won, so betting on his fights was pointless. So we got this dude with scars on the side of his face and across the bridge of his nose, and I can't tell if that's scar under his eye or if it's like marks under his eye. He's basically got a whole bunch of scars that are pretty much showing on the right side of his face, and he's got boxing gloves. Think Steve Fox, but less cool looking. And then Coco, mechanical fighter Coco, dark-skinned dude, little bit of a Rob Lucci vibe with his goatee, and he has long dreadlocks. He looks like the starting stages of a cyborg from Mortal Kombat. Like this is Sector as he's slowly being pieced into a cyborg a little bit. But then McCoy goes, not happy with failing the Neo Leader exam? Of course we aren't. What a bunch of crap. How come a rich wanker, a cult leader, and a Popeye don't get to be new Neo leaders, but a tough as nails pugilist like me didn't? You want me to kiss your behind? And then Coco speaks up. I want to be anyone weaker than myself. We are more effective in battle. And then Coco, I guess his scope reads up on something, and he reads up on Webby Gatherer, who we see like a full panel of, and he's, I guess, scanning her, and he goes, that girl has modified 71% of her body. But that's insane. My arms, legs, eye, and other modifications only amount to 30%. Modification over 60% is dangerous and rarely successful. Supposedly a few cyborgs in the Hero Association surpass 60%, but this girl does too? Talk about total commitment. And 70% of her body has been modified. Modification over 60% is dangerous and rarely successful. Yet she's standing here, and she has this cold stare to her, like a cold, emotionless view to her eyes. And then, Masureo screams up and goes, ain't you gonna back me up? Fine then. I'll show you how fast my punches are. Each glove weighs 9 kilos and can crush a human skull. A death boxing KO means lights out forever. That's a risk. That risk is a thrill like no other. And then Suryu goes, nice punches. And then Raiden goes,
Black Luster, you should stand aside.
Oops, my hand slipped. And Masureo punches directly into Black Luster. And then Masureo, looking crazed, goes, my bad, didn't mean to hit you. You okay? And then it shows Black Luster just being fine. And he just goes, I'm all right, but what about your wrists? And it shows that Masareo literally broke his wrist, and he's got a bone sticking out through his arm. Huh? And then Suryu walks up behind Masareo. He walks up right behind Masareo and goes, you should, stop. You picked the wrong fight. Just go home. Why you? And then it shows Masareo and Coco. I guess they're trying to fight Suryu, but he's just blocking all of them. They just start throwing hands, and Suryu's not even moving. You know how Neo fully embraced his role as the one, and everything he did was just effortless, specifically the moment he realized he was the one, and he just started fighting Smith. He was blocking all of his moves, and then he started doing it one-handed. He's doing that for both Masareo and Coco, and he's just blocking all of them, and that's where the chapter ends. Okay, this was an interesting one. Let's see. Oblatan. Also, if this is your first time here, welcome. I like that the manga likes to remind us of names if we've not seen characters for a while. I love it. Oh my goodness, I love it. Because some manga expect you to remember every single person's name, especially if you haven't seen them for such a long time. What I love about this series is how they do that. That is such an astute observation. Thank you for that. Because I had no idea what Sumo Dude's name was until they said Raiden. So I want to say they knew. Bro knew that people would have forgotten Raiden's name, probably wouldn't have looked up on it, probably wouldn't have read the previous chapter, or go back to the chapter where he was first shown being recruited for the Neo Heroes, and just said, you know what, it's probably been a minute since people have read anything One Punch Man related. Let's make sure we reintroduce people and say their names in the chapter, just in case, so people won't call him Sumo Dude or Sumo Guy, or that sumo person or whatever. So I am so appreciative of just one doing that. I'm so glad that they do that. I really am. But this was a very interesting chapter. So we got introduced to some more people, and Black Luster gets into a test of strength against Raiden. Raiden relents and thinks perhaps you're not in the best condition, or perhaps he is past his peak. So those are the thoughts that are in Raiden's mind. Then we get Masareo, we get introduced to what he does. Death boxing, uses gloves packed with iron sand. Masareo is the interim champion. Then we get Cyborg fighting, takes place in an underground shelter between bodily modified combatants. Coco got expelled, he always won, so betting on his fights was pointless. So they basically just kicked him out, because if he ever fought, then anyone who bet on him to win would always win, and therefore it's bad for business when you have someone who always wins, and the betting always goes towards the person who always wins. You ain't doing a business that way. The house doesn't win that way. So we get introduced to the both of them. Masareo, however, is still upset that he's not considered a leader, and McCoy lets us know that he failed the exam, wondering how the rich dude, whose name escapes me, Inferschnave, which is odd how I remember his name, but I don't remember the rich guy's name. It's always the weird names that I remember, but not the ones that sound more normal. It's always those. So all the leaders that we just got introduced to, they're all leaders, but Masareo didn't get it because he failed the leader exam. And Coco is all like, I won't obey anyone weaker than myself, not realizing that if he didn't get accepted into the leader exam either, that kind of makes him weaker than pretty much everyone else who's in the room. So, but he scans Webby Gather and finds out that she had her body, has her 71% of her body has been modified. 71%. For a guy in bad condition, Black Luster isn't doing too badly holding his ground. No, he isn't. He isn't. I still feel sorry for him, though, because he is still massively traumatized over the events of the Monster Association raid. He's still massively traumatized, and I would love for us to get some chapters on him where he's just recovering mentally. Because out of everyone, I feel sorry for him the most. And when he's put on the spot, he does it reluctantly. Whereas normally, he'd be more than happy to show off just how strong and powerful he is with his big old muscles. Normally, he would be. But here, he's lost all drive to do anything meaningful with his muscles except help other people train. So when he's put on the spot here, I mean, he does brace up. He does do good. But Raiden can tell that he's not giving it his all. We can all see that he's not giving it his all. Because you're not just going to put him on the spot to try and test out your strength and then suddenly he's back in the saddle again. No, the dude still has that recovery to go through. So, yeah. But I am still happy that at least he didn't get pushed into the ground, because that would have made the situation even worse. But yeah. And geez, cyborgs are scary, all joking aside. It takes some determination to cut yourself for powers. Not just that, but having 71% of your body completely modified. 71%. We don't even know what's been done to My Mask himself for him to be as strong as he is. We know something was done, but we don't know what it is. However, with Webby Gatherer and her status of having 71% of her body completely modified is something that really shouldn't be heard of. I want to say about the only other example of having a body that is incredibly and heavily modified would be Genos, because his whole body is pretty much mostly robotic. So when Coco speaks of like modification over 60% is dangerous and rarely successful, I believe Webby Gather and Genos kind of factor into that rarely successful part, considering their bodies are both heavily modified. I don't know to what extent Genos' body is completely modified, but I want to say it's possibly more than Webby Gatherer's. Because, he's a cyborg. He's not completely robotic. He still has, like, human body. He still has human body parts and stuff. So he can still eat and process stuff. I mean, he still has his head and everything. So I feel like with Genos, he still falls in that category of having over, 70-something% of his body completely converted. But for Webby Gatherer, however, her body doesn't even look like it's been altered. She just looks like a normal person. That's the reason why she scares me out of everyone. Because her whole appearance of looking so unassuming. Holster, it's good to see you. We're talking about today's chapter. But her overall appearance looks like it's just perfectly fine, like there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Yet it belies a certain type of power that you don't see from anyone else other than, I want to say, My Mask and Saitama, because they both have potentially unassuming appearances, and yet they also have incredibly powerful strength behind their faces. Like Saitama, he is literally drawn in the most simplistic of styles, yet the dude is the most powerful character in the entire series. My Mask is an incredibly powerful individual. During that time when he was fighting that one BDSM monster lady, there's two different versions. There's one version in the manga where he doesn't kill her, and there's a version that's on right here on Viz where he does kill her, and he proceeds to just eviscerate everything around him with deadly intensity. And you would never think that he is capable of something just that monstrous. Yet when you see him out in public and he's doing these concerts and he's taking pictures and everything, he just looks pretty normal. But that's what makes it so terrifying, because you can't tell what's been done to him. Yet you know there's some sort of weird strength behind it, you know? So yeah, that is scary. Anyone could be a cyborg. Genos goes around making sure you know he's a cyborg. But here's the thing though. Genos is modified into a cyborg, but we don't know what type of modifications has been done to Webby Gather. It could be genetic modification. Not just cyborg parts, and she just has a human, human skin over it like she's a Terminator or anything. It could be genetic modification. And her body has been modified. Or it could be the way Coco is looking at it, saying like, it could be that she actually is a cyborg, and he can tell that that's the amount of her body has been, changed, because it doesn't show us where these modifications have taken place. It just shows her in real time. So I don't know, but that's what makes it scary. Super S, yeah, that's her name. I forgot her other name, but I remember her as, Super S was her name. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm glad that we're getting these introductions to all these characters for Neo Heroes. But I keep saying this ever since she showed up, Webby Gather is the one who concerns me the most. Because she's a pop idol, and a lot of her appearances has had her smiling and being casual with people, but we all know that there's something else going on. Like, first, we saw it when she landed on top of that giant anteater king. That was a threat level demon monster, and she killed it instantly. And then she downed an entire gallon of water, like a giant jug of water in one go, and then she just took off flying. Then another example of her being more than meets the eye. She apparently said that her outfit was just freshly ironed, so it's going to be extremely hot, and it was enough to burn Suryu's hand because of how hot it was, yet she was wearing it as if it wasn't piping hot. So that's another example of like there's something else going on. And now we have another thing going on where Coco, a professional cyborg fighter, looked at her and could tell that, oh snap, what is going on? I have at least 30% of my body changed, and I'm a professional cyborg fighter to the point where I got expelled where I was fighting in because I kept winning all the time. But I only have like, what, 30%? 30% of my body is modified. But this one has pretty much has over 40% more of her body modified than me. And it should be impossible. It should be difficult. Kitten1, hi, hello. You are here listening to my reaction to the newest One Punch Man chapter. So, like I said, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, she scares me the most. Webby Gather scares me the most, and the day we find out just how far this extent of modification actually is, I feel is going to be the same day we find out, like, okay, so if this is how it is for Webby Gather, is it the same for a My Mask? Because they're kind of similar in how their bodies are modified, yet they have very unassuming appearances that belie their strength. So yeah, that idol's going to be a potential problem. Oh, she is. The moment she showed up, I knew she was going to be an issue. It was just the panel where she was just drinking an entire thing of water, which is not something you would see most pop idols do. Like, sure, they'll have small bottles, but a giant jug that it could be like the size of a normal water bottle in the hands of Raiden? No, I knew something was up. Her interactions with the My Mask and Genos has potential, if you ask me. It does. Because the chapter did say that she wants to be bigger than a My Mask. So Neo Heroes is essentially the rival association with the Heroes Association. So now we have basically an association rivalry between Webby Gather and a My Mask. So interaction at some point is going to be all but inevitable. So that should be interesting overall. But because I don't want to say that this chapter felt a little bit quick. Maybe it's because when it comes to how these chapters are done, they are done in a way where I can get through them kind of quickly, yet not too quickly at all. So I thought this chapter was fine. I especially thought this chapter was fine, but the one thing that sticks out to me the most is that Webby Gather is going to be the issue. Webby versus a My Mask vying to fill the stage, bring it on. Oh yeah, especially if they're well known and they try to book the same venue, there will be something that goes down. But yes, I like this chapter because it's got me even more fearful of Webby Gather. It is quick. At least there's another in a week. By the way, what do you think of the cover? If you mean the one where it has like a Saitama on the front, like I said at the beginning, you probably weren't here, Obalatan. We haven't seen a cover with Saitama on the front, at least of all with him punching in a direction in a while. It's been a while. It's been a while since we had like a Saitama cover. Usually we've been having a whole bunch of women on the cover, like Fubuki and Tatsumaki and so many other people, but it's nice to see Saitama's face on the cover again. Because if I remember correctly, it wasn't even on the last one. Hold on, let me go back to 202. Yeah, it was Webby Gather. It was Webby on the... Zadats. That's the rich guy's name, Zadats. So in the last one, we had Webby Gather on chapter 202. And if I go to chapter 201, it was Suryu. And that's the first chapter we got after this massive break. But Saitama was just walking in the background. But I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've seen a cover with Saitama on the front. Did you notice the moon? Wait, what? Notice the moon? Are you talking about the... Wait, hold on. Are you talking about... Hold on, let me look at the full list. Are you talking about a volume cover? If you're talking about a volume cover, I haven't seen the most recent one. How far does it go? No, the most recent one out there is okay, that's 208, but that was back in 2000. Back in 2021. That was a while back. I still need to get some more volumes back again. There's a moon staring at Saitama in the cover. It's small and nearly invisible. Really? Hold on. Is it like an optical illusion or something? Am I missing something? No, this chapter's cover. Nah, actually, my bad. I realized I was thinking of another cover. Forgive me. Okay. About to make me think that you see something I don't. You about to make me think I see something I don't. But no, we good. I was about to say, hold on. Wait a minute. What you looking at? What panel are you looking at? I don't see no moon. It's just Saitama punching. You had me worried there. You had me worried there, but we all good. Also, I'm loving the stuff with Black Luster in this chapter too. I keep going to call him Dark Shine, but it's Black Luster. I need to break out of that habit. I mean, it's both those. You can call him Dark Shine. You can call him Black Luster. I like calling him Black Luster. Super Alloy Black Luster. I like that name. But yeah, sorry. Don't worry about it. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You're good. You don't worry, I ain't gonna be holding it over your head. Remember that time you told me you saw the moon in that chapter, but we didn't see it? I'm gonna hold this over you for the rest of your life. Don't worry. It's all good. Mistakes happen. It's all good. But I did sort of enjoy this chapter, but it just reinforced how much I really want to have some chapters dedicated to Black Luster so we can see where his head is at while he's at Neo Heroes, or maybe have like some chapters showing him leaving the association and then joining Neo Heroes, just to really get where his headspace is at. Because out of everyone, I really want to spend some time with him. I really want to spend some time with Black Luster. I really want to spend some time with him to see just where is his headspace at. What is he thinking? Where did his confidence go? Will it ever come back? I really want to spend some time with that. Hopefully, but we'll have to see. Where it feels like we're going to be staying here at Neo Heroes for a hot minute. But let not his mind space fool you. The dude's muscles are still incredibly dense because Maru... Great, I forgot old dude's name. That's how insignificant he was. Masureo literally broke his wrist trying to hit him. His muscles are still diamond. And your boy literally just broke his wrist. Got the bone sticking out. So it's all like, yeah, you might want to check your wrist, because is your wrist going to be all right? He was all like, yeah, I'm fine. And the fact that Masureo tried to hit Black Luster as if that was going to do anything. Sad as I feel for Black Luster, I like that his problems aren't quick to resolve. I like that as well, because when people go through states of depression, not that I've been a person that has ever been depressed, because I just go with the flow. I thank God that I really don't have anything to really complain about. But when people go through bouts of depression, it is not something that can just be easily remedied over a short period of time. It takes time for people to heal, for people to process everything. It takes more than just simply like, you know what? The sky is blue. I feel good today. Depression gone, and then it's never back again. This is something that this is a process that needs to be taken at that person's pace. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be forced. It cannot be contained in a short amount of time. It needs plenty of room so that I can move at this person's pace, so that they can be ready to walk out of that depression. It is not something that can just be easily remedied in a couple of chapters. These things take time. So I'm also glad as well that they're not just resolving it so quickly and it's something that he's still going through. Because it's been... When did I read through the Monsters Association chapters? I want to say that I was reading through the Monsters Association chapters at least like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I'll probably have to look that up later. And he's still been suffering ever since. So it's probably going to be a minute before it gets resolved for him. But I hope that that one takes his time, so that Black Luster can recover at a humanly possible pace, even though his muscles are beyond human. But you understand what I mean. So yeah. But overall, I did enjoy this chapter, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And I hope all I can say to everyone here is, firstly, thank you for stopping by. You didn't have to, but you did, and I really do appreciate it. As the channel continues to grow, I look forward to more and more people enjoying what I do, because this is what I do all the time. This is my job, and I love my job. So I just want to say thank you, because you make this channel, better with your presence. But I'm done for today. All I can say to every one of you is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!